They're yours. Hit that one more time. I am the number one determinant of the success or failure. Here we go. Of my students. Hey, y'all, you have a strong summer. Kick some butt next year. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's the mindset. That's the attitude. Love you guys.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Man, I hope my reception is good because I'm looking at this signal here and it doesn't look too good. Somebody give me a thumbs up or just put in the comments if you can hear me, if you can see me, if my signal is good. And while you do so, let me see who's here in the building with me here in South Lake Tahoe, California. We got Janine Wilkins in the building, Kimberly Carruthers, Michael Moore, my man, Michael Moore, I might add, Alicia Fisher, Dr. Sheikah Houston. Thought I was watching Dr. Houston live this morning, man, and then it turned out it was a pre-recording. So good to see you, though. Demetrius Scott, my man, Marsha Pogue, Principal Carlos Baggage in the building, Michael Benton in the building. It's his birthday, by the way. Y'all wish Michael Benton a happy birthday today, and he's here. He's here. Vanessa Zeskin is in the building. Dot McKeever Jeter, James Wilburn is in the building. Jennifer Mortvit Mapes is in the building. Jessica Coleman, Mary Felton, Akila Hawkins, Rodney Richardson, Brandon Ellen. Y'all are telling me that I'm good on the audio and video, so that's good. Enorb Lyra Ronim. I know I butchered that. Liesa Jordan is in the building. Sheikah Houston said, you can hear me. That's good. Janine can hear. Okay, we good. We good. Janine Wilkins, Rashad Davis checking in from Vegas. We got John Hurricks, Principal McKeever Jeter is in the building. Dominique Price, Doomerville. Hey, McKeever Jeter, you scare me when you say so far. It got to go beyond so far. Alicia Fisher, James Wilburn. Hey, y'all, hit that share button, hit that retweet. Let them know we're here, man. This is the second anniversary of the virtual AP Leadership Academy, man. I started this thing 2 years ago today, but we'll talk about it in a little while. Tranisha Gilbert, Pierre Peters Finney. Some folks might be on here saying, 2 years? I just discovered this last week. You've been on here for 2 years? Yeah, I haven't missed a Saturday, but we'll talk about that. Well, Anthony Allen's in the building. Melissa Jones Chunu is in the building. Shakitha Jeffries is in the building. April Cannon Keenley is in the building. Assistant principal from Allen, Texas. Good to have you here. Edwin Garcia is in the building. He said Passaic, New Jersey. That's my homie. 1 year AP, just finished the EDD. Congratulations. Thanks for the huge nuggets of knowledge and motivation to be who my students need me to be. I appreciate that, Edwin. Man, let me wait till you hear what I got with my rundown today. I got some stuff up my sleeve. Angela Carr Monell is in the building, and thanks for that tag, Angela. Jenny Hernandez, Lysandra Brackens, Yolanda McKinney is in the building. Arcella Austri, Charlotte Davis, Lily Lanier, Dominique Price Dumerville. I think I said that one. Golfar WT from Atlanta. Hey, Golfar, you know I'm going to be in Atlanta on July 16, so come on down there and join us so I can meet you in person and fist bump you. I don't shake a lot of hands, but I do fist bump, right? Darren Thompson's in the building. Christine Clyburn McPherson's in the building. Charlotte Davis. Who else we got here? Well, it's about that time, actually. Let's see. Vicki Benson. Joy Johnson. Hit the share button. Hit the retweet. Let them know Ronald Pugh is in the building. Lakeisha Mabry's in the building. Where we at? Oh, my former student, Jeanette Brown. Good to see you, Jeanette. You know, we got to catch up at some point. Darnell McElveen is in the building up there in Minneapolis. I bet you're still cold up there too. Christopher Ortez and Facebook user from Chicago, whoever that is, Nyerica, it might be Nyerica though. Coy Bush is in the building, and my man AJ Bianco is in the building. I got to stop it right there. Let's jump into it, y'all. Formally, let me say to you, good morning. I'm bringing my volume down a little bit, y'all. It's 8 o'clock out here where I am. Folks probably still sleeping. Good morning. Welcome to week 106 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And I don't know about you. You know, I say that every week. I think I do know, though. You're here. But if I could just speak for me, I ain't bringing you that volume this morning. Not here. I brought it to that keynote yesterday, but not here. I'm on fire. And that's as loud as it's going to get. I can't even release today, man. But let me give you the explanation. You know something? I'm here at this this conference, the Association of California Administrators, and you know I had a great day, but when it was finished, lady came up to me. She said, "You know, I've been working this conference for 30 years." She said, "Standing ovations are not normal here." She said, "I think this is the first one in 30 years." You know, and it made me feel like good, you know, that I was able to deliver in an area that I'm really not familiar with over here in South Lake Tahoe. I'm right on the border of Nevada. Like when I walk outside in the driveway driveway parking lot, I'll be in Nevada, right? And the Harris Hotel is right there, so I'm at the borderline. But you know, it just reignited my fire to know that I could come out here, deliver the goods, and get the standing ovation. Right? We don't do this work for standing ovations, but the standing ovation is a statement. It says we received it, right? We got this. We heard this. So for that reason, once again, I'm saying to you, you got to work to the extent that your staff gives you a standing ovation. You got to work to the extent that the parents, that the students, that the community gives you a standing ovation. Because although we don't work for the standing ovation, it is all about the standing ovation. Because the standing ovation says, yes, that's what it's saying. It's saying, I got it. It's saying this is helping me. This is benefiting me. This is growing me. So I don't mean that you'll have folks literally clapping you up, but I mean that folks are feeling like I'm in the right place because you and you and you are leaders in this building. So for that, I say I'm on fire. Woo! Oh my God, that doesn't feel good. I need my weekly release. I went down to the front desk. I'm in room 616. And I said, is anybody staying in 615 and 617? Because I get loud on my live stream. And they said, well, 615 is vacant, but 617 got somebody. So this is like built like them embassy suites. For those of you who have been there, got the window, right? So I've been looking out to see if somebody walks past from 617, right? So I could let loose. But I'm a respect. I might be too loud. Just if they sleeping in the room in the suite room, then I'm waking them anyway. Let's go, y'all. Welcome to the first timers. I don't know where you've been if this is your first time. We've been doing this for 106 weeks. This is the second anniversary. The first Saturday in May, I said I want to create something where I get to speak to assistant principals, and I created this, the virtual AP Leadership Academy, the virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. Because I wanted to have access to assistant principals, whether it be live, on the video, whatever it is. And here we go. It was just meant to be 18 weeks. First week of May, Saturday, last Saturday in August, we're done. 18 weeks. But here we are, 2 years later, 106 strong. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling strong. And I plan to do this forever, right? As long as I'm living, right? So first timers, welcome. Tell a friend, tell a colleague, they need to be on here too. Right? But even if they're not an AP, if it's a principal, they need to be there. I tell superintendents all the time, you need to be here because you have assistant principals in your district who are not fully well-rounded. And that's happening under your leadership. So you need to be on this call as well, right? So welcome to the first time at School Leadership Institute. I keep saying it, July 12 and 13. I'll be in Charlotte. So we're bringing the virtual AP Leadership Academy on the road. So Charlotte, North Carolina, July 12th, July 13, in person, on location. We'll be in the room. Wear your mask if you want, but come down and join me. So Google School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. Don't Google it as Virtual AP Leadership Academy. School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, 5th annual, I should say. Google that, register there, and I see you in Charlotte, July 12 and 13. And then that same week, July 16 and 17, I'll be in Atlanta at the Deaf Ed Conference. The sponsor of that conference, the organizer of that conference, is my guest next Saturday. Principal Andre Benito Mountain. So I'm looking forward to a high-powered interview with him next week. But go to Deaf Ed, DEF, and then ED conference, and register for that. And then come on down to Atlanta and join me and my man, Dr. Anthony Muhammad, and some others, quite a few others. Come on down there and be with us in that space. I told you I'm gonna keep my personal Facebook page up and going as far as the virtual academy. I'm not gonna take my page down, but I'm gonna keep the video streaming on that page. So forget what I was saying when I was gonna phase it out. Let's see. Congrats to all the folks getting these jobs. I've been getting all these emails, so congrats to you. The books, I didn't bring any, but the top 3, the newest 3, Equity and Social Justice Education 50, the Assistant Principal 50, and the Aspiring Principal 50. And then lastly, and y'all know what I wear. This is not a Negro League shirt. This is the New York Giants. This was the farm team to the New York Yankees, right? But I got a lot to talk about today. And lastly, I want to remind folks of the overall objective of this broadcast. Does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? That's why this was created. So I just want you to always keep that question in the forefront of your mind. Does my assistant principalship, like hold up your mirror, man, I forgot to wipe it off. That looks all right. Does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? Hold up your mirror to your mug, right? And ask yourself, does my leadership benefit my school? But don't end it at school. Benefit my school academically. Is there something about my leadership that the academic needle continues to move to the right, and students and progress is being made consistently, steadily, because of your leadership, even as an assistant principal? Enough said. I'm ready. Hit the share button, hit the retweet button. Let's go. I said to myself, I'm back doing what I'm calling solo Saturdays. So every first Saturday of the month, I'm going solo, no guests. And I said to myself, I didn't write this in my notes, but I said to myself, solo Saturday is going to be 1 hour, and at 12 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to shut it down. Now, then I got over ambitious with these notes. So let's see what happens, right? Hit the share button, hit the retweet button. So I'm calling this protecting your leadership authenticity, right? Protecting your leadership authenticity. I skipped the motivational message because I went long on the fire message. So we'll get back to that next week. So again, let me put this in context for you. Those of you that have been with me for a while, you'll recall that the motivational message for about, I say at least 20 of them, I was saying protecting your whatever, like protecting your peace, protecting your truth, protecting your health, protecting your happiness, and etc. Well, that became a long list. And behind the scenes, I started building on that list, protecting your this, protecting your that, as it relates to leadership. And I built it to a list of about 125 items. So then I said, man, look at all this. I never really thought about it in this context of all these attributes that we need to protect within our leadership. So I reached out to the publisher, my publisher, ASCD, and I said, I'm getting ready to write another book, man. I got that bug. And I'm not sure who the exact audience is, aspiring, assistants, principals, veterans. I don't know. We'll figure that part out later. But the fact of the matter is the content's there. So for the next 2 to 3 years, on solo Saturdays, I'm going to be sharing some of that content. I ain't giving the whole book away on here, but some of that content, because it's so valuable. And as the world knows, I'm a giver. I don't have to be paid for everything I do. I don't have to be paid for every word that comes out of my mouth. I sit here on this computer every Saturday. I'm out in California. I could have justified putting on my social media, I'm out of town this week. I cannot do this. I'm here, man. I booked my flight in a time where I could do this and then catch the flight. It's an hour drive from here back in Reno. So that's how I roll. That's how I get down. Right. So we're gonna break this up. It's seven sections. The first section is protecting your authenticity. That's what we're doing now. But I'm going to spread this over the next 3 months. First Monday, 3 sections, which I'll talk about. Then followed up by protecting your mindset. And then there's a whole plethora of information to go with that. Then protecting your passion, protecting your intentionality, protecting your outlook, protecting your preservation, and protecting your intangibles. So it will take me literally, because I did the math, 2 to 3 years, depending on how hard I want to go on a lot of these, 2 to 3 years to fully exhaust this protecting your leadership. So today, now that I'm ready to get into it, I'm calling this protecting your leadership authenticity. And I'm breaking this up. I'm breaking this down. Take notes, folks. I hope you got your pens out, your notepad, or you're typing, whatever it is. But I'm breaking this down into when I say your leadership authenticity, your leadership brand, your leadership reputation, and your leadership credibility / competence, right? So with that said, man, I'm going to try to do this in an hour, right? I'm just getting my notes right. I'm going to try to do this in an hour. I don't know. We'll see. You just, whatever it takes, hang with me, right? Let's go. So protecting my leadership authenticity. You know that, I haven't been solo since New Year's Day. And I do everything self-reflective. So I'm going to be giving you a lot of questions, a whole lot of questions today, but they're all self-reflective. So again, I strongly encourage you to write or to type, but get this. Now, of course, you can watch the video over and over on YouTube, but I still want you to have it written because, something about the brain that when you write and as you write, your brain is processing differently than when you're watching something and receiving it that way. It tends to stay, or your brain will retain it a lot longer, right? So maybe even permanently. So let's go. So this word authentic, we use it loosely. And I went to the dictionary and I said, how is the dictionary? I went to a couple of dictionaries. How are they defining this word authentic, right? And they were saying genuine, original. And here's the one I really like. Real, right? I like to be real. Like I like to be genuine, original, but I like that word real, actual, true, and bona fide. So those were the words that kind of came up, the synonyms that kind of came up at that time. So I use those as I put this together. So my question is to you, what is meant as I jump into brand? I want to talk about brand identity and brand image. So here's a question for you to ponder before I get into my own commentary. What is meant by brand identity and brand image? What does that mean? Right. And I'm not talking about in terms of a person yet. I'm just talking generically, a company, a corporation, a product, a service, whatever it is. What do they mean when they say brand? Right? The brand of the company and the brand identity of the company and the brand image of the company. So in a nutshell, I've written this note. I said one's brand identity tells you about a person or about a thing, right? Or about a place, a noun. Tells you about a person, place, or thing, which allows you to distinguish this person, place, or thing from countless others. So this identity that they actually create, which becomes a brand identity. But then the brand image, y'all, I'm teaching this morning, y'all. The brand image refers to the way that a person's brand identity is being interpreted or being perceived. So again, that brand image refers to a way that person, place, or thing, brand identity is being interpreted or being perceived, right? So right now, I'm just talking generically a person, a place, a thing, right? A product, a service, whatever it is. But now this is a leadership platform. This is the virtual AP Leadership Academy. So my question to you then, what is meant by leadership brand identity, leadership brand image? Let's break that down later for these notes. Let's get into it. See, all of you that are on this call right now, or the folks who will see it later, you have a brand. Like I'm literally looking at Josh Tovar's name right now. And it's interesting, Josh. I know I guess I told you this before, but I didn't have this context to say it. But I'm gonna say it to you now publicly with everybody listening. Principal Josh Tovar has a very, very distinguishable brand as a leader, right? Very distinguishable brand as a leader. And he broadcasted on social media, but I'm not talking about the social media per se now. I'm talking about the way he leads his school, which the social media is a part of it. So when I walk into a Josh Tovar school, Principal Josh Tovar, he uses the name MPA Jaguars as his account name on the thread. So when I walk into a Josh Tovar school, I'm very clear on the Josh Tovar brand. See, it's very evident. It's very much obvious in terms of what he has intentionally crafted for himself. So it's one thing to talk about the Josh Tovar brand that he crafted, his own intentionality, that he says, this is the product, so to speak, that I want to present to the school, to the students, staff, to the public. But then you got this thing called brand image. And see, that brand identity, which the leader crafts for him or herself, has to be compatible with the brand image, which is the perception that people have of you, the interpretation that the people have, that students, staff, public have of you. So it's one thing to say, oh, I'm this, I'm that. That's a rap song. I'm this, I'm that, I'm so-and-so, right? But let me get back on track. So it's easy to say that I'm this, I'm that. But then the public is perceiving something very different. The public is interpreting something very different. So now there's a brand identity breakdown, brand identity confusion, right? And you never want that. You think about products on the television that advertise when you watch TV, or products on the videos, all that kind of stuff. Well, they're trying to send a message out there, right? They're trying to put their brand out there for you so that you will ultimately make a purchase. But in putting that brand out there, they are creating an image for you to interpret, for you to perceive. And the question is there consistency, congruency in the way you perceive them and what it is that they're trying to sell to you? So saying all that, we tie that into you. So I got a question for you. What is your leadership identity? And I'm talking to assistant principals too, not just principals. What is your leadership identity? So when students see you, what do they see beyond your name, right? And your physical presence, right? Your name and your physical presence, that's a given. But beyond that, so principal so-and-so, assistant principal so-and-so, Mr. so-and-so, Ms. so-and-so, but let's go beyond that. And then your physical presence, what do they see? So I'm thinking about myself, man, I feel myself going over the hour today because I'm still on like the first question. So I'm thinking about myself as a teacher first. So what did my students see when they saw Mr. Kafele? Yeah, they saw my physical presence. Yeah, they knew my name. But what about my identity as a brand? Well, let me give you these quickly. They saw someone who was very focused on building character, particularly of my male population, which I've been talking about on here for 2 years. They saw someone who was extremely focused on ensuring that they had a sense of who they were historically. So having a sense of history. So that was very important for me. But they also saw a motivator, someone who was there to fire them up, someone who was there to make them believers when they were not necessarily believers of themselves. So my brand became, and then the academics was obvious. I'm a teacher. So the brand was, man, he's building character. He's helping us to be upstanding, right? He's teaching us our history. He's teaching us who we are historically. He's teaching us whose shoulders we stand upon in order for us to be where we are today. But then as a motivator, he's keeping us fired up. He's keeping us excited. He's keeping us enthusiastic about the possibilities for our lives, for our future. That was my brand. And even my attire was a part of the brand. I wore a suit every day, shirt and tie every day, right? They never saw me dressed down. They only saw me that way because I was conveying a certain message. That was my brand, y'all. That was my brand as their teacher. But here's where it gets a little tricky because we're talking brand identity and brand image. So now, although I felt I was doing right by them, I felt that what I wanted them to receive from me was sound in addition to the academics. But now I got to look at it through their lens. Because see, the image part, brand image, is through their lens. So now as I'm looking at them through their lens, what do they see? See, what do they perceive me to be? What do they interpret me to be? See, so I may be coming in there with, in terms of my attitude that I'm doing the right thing by kids, but they may, or staff or colleagues as a teacher, but they may be seeing something very different that is detrimental, right? Like he ain't all what he thinks he is, right? So now there's no way that no one's going to tell me that. I've got to have my antennas up so that I can perceive how I'm being received, right? Perceived how I'm being received. And now with the antennas up, I know what adjustments I need to make so that there's compatibility between my brand identity and my brand image. I hope I came across clear on that, right? So now let's look at that in terms of this academy. There's a brand here, y'all know that. I don't talk about everything, and there's some topics that are just off limits on this platform because I didn't design it for that. This is not a political platform, for example. Right? It's a leadership platform. And when there's a place that when there's a space for the politics, then obviously, as you would know, if you've been with me long, I'll merge them in. But this is a professional learning platform. This is not to talk about the politics of the world and all that kind of thing. It would violate the brand. See, so the platform has a brand, and with brand comes expectation. So when you all tune in, you have expectation of what the content will be, because of the brand of this platform. But in addition to that, and obviously, I'm a brand, Principal Kafele. My wife doesn't call me Principal Kafele. My children don't call me Principal Kafele. My mother, who's watching along with my wife and my daughter, they don't call me Principal Kafele, right? That's a brand, right? That's a professional brand. So Principal Kafele has a brand, and with the brand comes expectation for the folks who are receiving the brand. So you have certain expectations of my behavior, of my content, probably my attire at this point, because I have never been on here without a baseball jersey in 106 sessions, right? So all that's a brand. So now let's go to you. I needed to say all that to make a to build a bridge to get to you. So now I got a lot of questions for you. What is your leadership brand? I got the mirror up, somebody. When the folks, oh, look at that, my daughter's on here. Well. Every Saturday I call her. I said, did you watch the broadcast? Daddy, I was doing this and that. Cabria Jesse is in the building. Don't cut in here now. You put I'm here and then you disappear, right? And tell hashtag to tune in. We'll keep that right there. So anyway, what is your leadership brand? Holla at me, somebody. Put it in the chat. What is your leadership brand? Hey, Cabri, I see a lot of people saying hi to you this morning. You might need to get on here with me. So what is your leadership brand? Like when the folks see you, when they think of you, right? When they hear your voice, when they hear your feet walking down the hall, because you know they can distinguish who that is now. I never talked about that before on here, but everybody's walk pattern is different. So when I'm walking down the hall, the whole school knows it's me, even though they don't see me. When you're walking down the hall, and maybe some of the young heads out there, maybe y'all don't know this, but when you're walking down the hall, especially if you got some heels that can be heard, they know it's you. You don't have to announce you coming. They know it's you. They know it, right? So when they hear your footsteps, what are they thinking about you? Are they saying, oh man, that's AP, that's assistant principal so-and-so, man, she really fires me up, man. She really makes me believe in myself. She really picks me up when I'm down. Is that the perception? Is that the brand, for example, that you created? Oh, she's really intelligent, man. He knows his stuff, man. As an instructional leader, I'm so much better, so much more effective, so much more efficient in what I do because of Miss so-and-so, Mr. So-and-so. So I'm saying, I'm giving you these examples in terms of who your brand might be. But let's flip it and go to the opposite extreme. Oh man, that sounds like Miss so-and-so. Oh man, that yesterday she made me feel low, man, like below the curb. Oh, that's Mr. So-and-so. I would never volunteer to answer a question at a staff meeting because he made me feel embarrassed amongst the whole staff just because I didn't have the right answer, right? Or I remember I approached AP so-and-so or principal so-and-so last week, and man, he said, I don't have time right now, and walked away. Well, you know something? You may have crafted a brand. You said, I'm a motivator. I'm building character. I'm enhancing technology. You know, whatever it is. But the students heard something else, man. They saw something else. The staff, they saw something else. They heard something else. That's why, like I said to my audience out here in South Lake Tahoe yesterday, I said, this is my most potent weapon, man. I don't like that word weapon. My most potent tool. Self-reflection. I got to go here every day and I got to look at me, because had the folks not applauded, I would have had to look at me and say, what is it about my message that I got a lukewarm applause? See, so I got to go here because I got to get better for the next time out. So what is your brand, your leadership brand identity, and is it compatible with the image? Let me keep going. I got these self-reflective questions. Here I go. How do I want to be perceived within my leadership capacity? Once again, how do I want to be perceived within my leadership capacity? I'm talking about you now. Everything is self-reflective from here on. How do I want to be perceived? So I'm asking you, have you thought about it? Have you considered how you want to be perceived? Because it's not just the identity alone. I got to keep saying it's the identity and the image that go hand in glove. So when you think about who you are as a leader, how do you want to be perceived? Do you want to be perceived as a disciplinarian? Do you want to be perceived as a lunch duty supervisor? Do you want to be perceived as a bus duty supervisor? Are you good with that perception of who you are? And therefore, that is your brand when they think of you. Oh, that's the guy that suspends us. Oh, that's the woman that suspends us, the assistant principal. Oh, that's the one that preaches the sermons in the office all the time about correcting our behavior. Is that who you want to be? That's the one that always reminds us to take our trays and put them in the trash can during the lunch period. Is that who you want to be perceived as? I understand that they are responsibilities. I understand that, but that's not my question. My question is are you content with that being your brand? See, your brand identity. How do I want to be perceived in my leadership capacity? Let me keep going. How have I been deliberate about establishing my brand identity? Oh man, I'm teaching this morning. Hit that share button, hit that retweet button. I've been sitting back passively since January interviewing folks, and they've been doing all the talking. I'm teaching this morning, man, every Saturday morning, solo Saturday. So I'm asking you again, have I been deliberate about establishing my brand identity? So in other words, is it a priority? Is it deliberate? Is it an intentionality that you take yourself and mold it, fashion it, shape it into a leadership brand? See, a brand. You see the amount of money that these companies spend marketing their products to you. You see the amount of money and time that and I'm just making sure nobody's sending me anything I need to hear. Okay, you see the amount of time and energy and money that an entertainer and an athlete will invest in themselves relative to creating this brand identity. And sometimes, particularly with athletes, they do it to a fault. So their brand is more important than who they are on the team. So they'll invest more into their brand than they will into winning games, right? So that's brand to a fault. We don't want to go to a fault, but we want to make sure that we have that identity. So how deliberate are you in crafting yourself? See, I was deliberate. Like let me go to myself as leader. I was deliberate in ensuring that everybody in that school saw me as one who was on a mission to see student success. That was the brand. That I'm on a mission, that I'm walking in a purpose and a passion to see that school achieve at high levels. So therefore, that forced me to be a particular identity. I can't just walk into the building. Like here's what I've seen more times than I could ever count. Leaders that walk into a building and just wait for the stimuli to come to them. Right. So no plan, no written plan, probably no mental plan. Just walk into the building and let's see how it goes today. Let's pray that it's a better day than yesterday. Right. Let's pray that it's a better week than last week. And now they go at it. No, I'm not that. Because that means the brand is one of reacting, one of responding. I don't want a brand of reacting, a brand of responding. I want a brand that's proactive. I want a brand that I define, a brand that I determine. And then I want to walk in that brand. I want to be that walking brand. But I've always got to be perceptive of how I'm being interpreted in terms of the compatibility between the leadership brand identity and the leadership brand image. They matter, right? So let's keep going, y'all. So next question. Have I shaped my own brand identity, or did circumstances external to me shape it for me? Once again, did I shape my own brand identity, or did circumstances external to me shape it for me? So in other words, you're going, hear me well, put your ear to the speaker on this one. You're going to have a brand. The question is, are you in control of it? That's the question. You're going to have a brand. There's no such thing as a brandless person. There's no such thing as a brandless leader. You're going to have a brand. But the question is, who's going to shape that brand? Who's going to define that brand? Because if you don't do it, the students will do it for you. If you don't do it, the staff will do it for you. If you don't do it, the parents will do it for you. If you don't do it, the community will do it for you. If you don't do it, your colleagues will do it for you. If you don't do it, central office, including the superintendent, will do it for you. They will define you. And if they define you, their definition of you may not be what you want it to be. See? So again, that question said, have I shaped my own brand identity, or did circumstances external to me shape it for me? See, so again, I'm gonna use myself as an example because that's the best one I can use. Me. This brand on this Saturday Live, every Saturday, I call it the Saturday Academy for short. I shaped this, man. Y'all know what to expect of me. Whether I'm solo or got a guest, you know I shaped this. I didn't let the world shape it. I shaped it. And consistent with me shaping it is the consistency. That's another part of the brand. We talking 106 weeks strong. We talking a whole lot of hotel rooms that I've done these broadcasts. I can always use the hotel because I'm traveling as a reason that I can't do this. I said to my daughter last night, if she's still on here, I said, this StreamYard has a pre-recording function because I'll be on a cruise ship for 2 weeks. I said, but I can't not do this, and I'm not going to count on no ship Wi-Fi. But then I found out StreamYard, I can pre-record. So my daughter said, oh my God, Daddy, you're going to do this during the cruise? I said, yeah, I'm a pre-recording. And then it'll come on live at 10:55. Oh, she's still here. It'll come on live at 10:55. I said, so even though I'm on a cruise ship that probably has shaky, flimsy Wi-Fi, I can still get this done. Consistency is part of the brand. I'm not letting things interfere with this because this matters. I would like to think that it is impacting. Watch this. This is going to sound bold to somebody. I would like to think, oh, my daughter's dog is watching. I would like to think that this platform is impacting the world. Now that's bold. I know it. Somebody might even be able to handle that, but I'm going to say it again. I would like to think that this platform is impacting the world because I know we got an international audience. So when I left my principalship, I said I'm leaving so I can go out and impact the world. I think big. Some of us don't think big. We're afraid to think big. We don't dare to think big. Or we think the ego is too much of an ego thing to think big. No, it is not. Dream big. Think big. And then walk into it. Walk into it. So again, have I shaped my own brand? Right? Like I'm looking at I haven't been putting stuff on the screen this morning like I normally do because I'm really focused and locked in right now. So I don't want to be like over here and then I'm losing my train of thought. Then I got to ask you, what did I just say? But I see what's on there, and I see the Principal Ronnie Harvey is on here right now, right? And I'm thinking about his leadership. He was on as a guest quite a few weeks ago. If you missed that one, go check it out. Principal Ronnie Harvey, and what he did under the circumstances of pandemic and 2 hurricanes was still able to get through it and be named the Louisiana Secondary Schools Principal of the Year. But he established a brand, man. Not the community establishing it for him. He created it. And he continues to walk in it because I look at his social media all the time, right? A lot of times people they're like, you check me out. Yeah, I don't but like all the time when I look at stuff. I look at it and keep moving. I look at it, take it in, admire it, and I move. I don't like. I ain't got time for all that, right? So here, let me go to the next question. Is there compatibility between my brand identity and my brand image? I'm throwing that question at you now. See, I talked about it before with me. Now I'm talking to you. Is there compatibility between your brand identity and your brand image? Karima, you said you got that LOL. You another one, because see, you high powered in this education world. So I'm always checking you out to see what you up to as well. It's a lot of you on there. I'm on your page all the time. I just don't hit that like button all the time. I just want to see what you're doing because I say this to everybody. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nobody here that knows it all and doesn't need to learn from others. I go on someone else's page, learn from them, and then I borrow. I steal, just like they borrow and steal from me, right? And then that's how we continue to grow from leaning on each other, not working in a vacuum, working in isolation, and can't feel like the ego won't let you learn from somebody else. No. Even if they have less experience than you, even if they don't have your title, you can still learn from them, unless you ego tripping and now you can't learn from somebody else. I learn from other people. And a lot of times I'm learning from people on my social media thread because they got some good stuff, some good content that they're putting out there. That's part of my brand. See, that's part of my brand. Let's keep moving, y'all. So the next one, I got two more under brand, and I want to go to reputation. Is there compatibility between my brand identity and my school's purpose, mission, and vision? And I'll add and culture. So those four. Let me read it again. Is the compatibility between my brand identity and my school's mission, purpose, vision, and culture? So let's look at that. I could do the whole hour just on that one alone. There's a lot there. I'm gonna keep this brief though. You could create or craft a brand for yourself that is so incompatible with the environment. Now, of course, there are aspects of a school that you and I want to shape, that you and I want to transform. We get that, right? But I'm saying to you, you always have to read the room. You've always got to analyze what you see. See, you always got to look at that, right? And then look at you and see where there can be meeting ground, right? Your brand matters, but not to the extent that there's no compatibility with the school you lead. There's got to be congruency between who you are and who that school is. Now, of course, if we're talking about a school that's dysfunctional, it's low performing, and all that kind of stuff, then yes, you got to correct that. Yes, you got to transform that. I get that. But your brand still has to be consistent with the work that you're doing. Because if you're way over here and the school is way over there, the two of you will probably never connect. See, you got to make that connection. So that just matters. It just matters. There was a comment I was trying to read on but it's gone. I can't even find it now. I'll read it when I'm reading the comments on the plane later. I'll find it. Right. So let me keep moving. So with that said, my last question on the brand identity: what measures have I taken to protect? This is a big one. To protect the authenticity of my leadership brand identity, right? So let me just, I found that, let me just say this to Mary real quick. Mary Motlin said, disagree. God didn't create everyone to think big. Think big is better, more impact is said that people only remember percent of what you hear. Let me say this to you, Mary. When I say big, I'm not saying big in terms of all of us are striving to be this big time billionaire, millionaire, whatever it is. Big according to your definition of big. See, there's a lot of people who will say to me that I'm an underachiever. I've heard that before because in their mind, I should be a superintendent. And because I'm not a superintendent, I've missed my mark. I've heard that before. I've heard it plenty of times. I'm underperforming. I haven't maximized my potential. So that's their big, but it's not my big. So Mary, when I say big, and I guess I'll say this to anybody else that may have been confused by that. When I say big, I'm talking about big according to how you define big. See, there are people out here doing big. Now the big, I'll use it now in the way that people think of it, real big things. They billionaires. They got the million-acre land that they live on and all that kind of stuff. I say to my wife every day, and she's on here, she can testify to it. I don't have a big house, and I don't want one. I don't own a car. I haven't owned a car in 3 years. I wear cheap suits. I wear cheap shoes, cheap sneakers, and only jewelry I have is a wedding band and an old I think it's about 15-year watch, a old Bulliver. See, but so my big and someone else's big are very different. That's my big is doing what I do. So just remember, you define big, not someone else's standard of big. So within what you consider big, think big, but based on your definition of what big means. Enough said. Let's go. So what measures have I taken to protect the authenticity of my leadership brand identity? Man, that's a big question, man. There are two words here that stand out: protect and authenticity. Now, I told you this 2 to 3 year project that I'm on right now, and the book I'm going to write, the word protect is right there in the middle. But what I failed to tell you, and I see Marcus Jackson is out there. Doc, good to see you this morning, Doc. And let me say this to you, this word protect. Let me tell you why I'm using this word. I tend to try to do things differently than other people, right? I tend to try to find things that other people are not really talking about, right? And then I go in on it. I go hard. Like when I created Closing the Attitude Gap, for example, right? And a whole lot of other projects I put together. But here's the thing, this word protect. See, when we talk about folks in professional settings, in our case, education, we'll say we got to grow professionally. We got to develop professionally. We got to transform professionally. You know, we use all those kinds of words: grow, develop, transform, and all that. And then me with my critical thinking, my analytical thinking, I said, wait a minute, I get that we must steadily grow. We must steadily develop. Here's another word: we must steadily evolve. I get that. I agree with it. But then I said, but hang on, pump the brakes. So this is me now. You don't have to agree with this, but this is me now. I said, but within that growth, right? Don't you have to protect that growth? Because what if, like, think about it. Yeah, like I didn't know if I was going to be able to come on here in terms of bandwidth, right? The Wi-Fi signal was weak, and it's still weak. So now I'm calling up Apple and trying to figure stuff out. I'm down at the front desk trying to figure stuff. This is all yesterday. I'm like, because I got to do this thing live. I didn't want to do a recording. So now Apple said, well, here's what you could do. They said, turn off your firewall. I said, firewall, leave my computer open? They said, it's just temporary. You said you just on an hour and some change. So turn off your firewall and do the presentation and then turn it back on. Here's what I'm saying, y'all. When you just focus on your growth, your development, your evolution, your transformation, but you don't have a firewall in place to protect your growth, to protect your development, to protect your evolution, to protect your transformation, it can be undermined. You got to protect it. Like when we say protect your peace, we could say grow your peace, develop your peace, evolve your peace, transform your peace, but you got to protect your peace. We could say grow your truth. That means your intellect. We could say evolve your intellect. We could say transform your intellect. We could say develop your intellect, but you got to protect your intellect, man. See, you got to protect it, because if you don't protect it, you don't shield it, you could lose it, right? You could literally lose it. So you got to have an internal firewall that protects your growth so that you don't die, so that you don't regress. See, you could regress because you didn't put in those protections that sustain what you have established. Like let me be real transparent here. I knew most of this audience here in South Lake Tahoe. They're from different parts of California, I guess Northern California. I knew a lot of folks didn't know me because when I walked in the room, one people like, hey, Principal Kafele, can I get a selfie? I didn't get a lot of that. So I said, okay, they don't know me, right? So then the lady, the woman that was reading my bio, she said, do you want me to read it or just say something about you? I said, nah. Read that bio, like all of it. Here's why. Those are my accomplishments, y'all. I got to protect them Before I speak to an audience that never heard of me before, I need them to know I have done this work. I have done this work at a high level. I have done what you do. See, I got to protect those accomplishments as opposed to getting on the stage and people looking at me and saying, oh my God, what has he done? Does he know anything about what I do? Has he ever led a school before? You know, all that kind of stuff. I got to protect them accomplishments, y'all. So it's not just growing, evolving, developing, transforming. You got to go in there and protect what you got. Like people look at me funny, probably. I mean, I don't really pay them no mind. But when I go to a restaurant, right, when I'm on the road like this, like I got my computer bag literally sitting about 2 feet from me. This computer goes in that bag. When I go into a restaurant, when I go into a mall, when I go into a store, when I go into the gas station, right, get a pack of gum, right, whatever it is, because in Jersey we don't pump gas, right? But when I'm on the road, well, I don't pump gas on the road. I get them cars back with no tank, no gas in the tank. I ain't pumping no gas. I ain't grow up pumping gas. I'm in Jersey. We don't do that stuff, right? So here's the thing. I take that bag in the restaurant, man. That bag goes in the mall. That bag goes in the little bodegas. That bag goes with me because I am not leaving that bag in nobody's car and somebody could take my computer and have all my stuff. No, I am protecting my computer. Now, if they want to try to take it from me, one of us going to die, right? Because you ain't taking no computer from me. Right. But I shouldn't even be talking like that on here. All I'm saying is I go hard when I'm protecting. I go hard protecting my wife and my family. Right. That's just what it is. That's a different conversation. Maybe we come back sometime. Right. Dr. Austin, maybe one time me and you come on there and we talk about protecting. Right. So let me keep going. So I'm saying all that to say you got to protect that which you have accomplished. Right. You got to protect your brand, because if you don't protect your brand, somebody could come in and violate your brand. And you didn't put safeguards in to protect it, such as what we've been talking about the whole time. Let me keep going. I guess I'm going to go over 12, y'all. Stay with me. We're talking protecting your reputation. Let me go a little quicker, talk faster, and eliminate some of the anecdotes, right? So here we go. Protecting your reputation, closely associated with your brand. Protecting your rep. Man, you got to protect that, man. I've said it to you before. When I go on vacations, I don't let my guard down. Oh, I'm on vacation. They don't know me on this island. They don't know me in this country. Why don't they? They might. They got a computer. They might. Right? They got books. They might. They read articles in professional journals. They might. Right? Since I'm in them. So therefore, my reputation matters. Darnell said, let them have the bag. I mean, I knew somebody was going to say that. And I got you, Darnell. I got you. I probably would. They pull out that weapon. Yo, take the bag. All my stuff's in the cloud. We good. Right. So I hear you, Darnell. Right. So now protecting your leadership reputation. Look here, y'all. At the end of the day, hit that share button, man. Hit that retweet. Let them know Kafele on solo Saturday. He going a little longer. I do have a flight back to Jersey, 2 flights. I'll be flying till 11:30 tonight. I ain't missing that flight. So I will be off here on time, in time. At the end of the day, watch this, y'all. All you have, all you got, all you own is your reputation. You didn't hear me. I'm teaching today, y'all. I ain't interviewing nobody. I'm on here teaching today. At the end of the day, all you got is your reputation. And once you lose that, where you going? Your reputation matters. You've worked incredibly hard to build your reputation. Your reputation can be quite fragile. It can be quite delicate. Hear me, somebody. I'm on Pacific time. At 8:53, your reputation can be sound and solid. And by 9 o'clock, because of certain situations, circumstances, your reputation can crash and burn. Somebody didn't hear me. I know you didn't. You ain't hear that. At 8:53, your reputation can be sound. Your reputation can be solid. I'm talking about your leadership reputation now. Or I can be talking about your personal reputation, which impacts your leadership. Because we see it on the news and we see it in our lives. Somebody went out and made some bad decision in their personal life, but he happens to be the principal of the local elementary school. So not only did you hurt yourself personally, but you just hurt your entire career, everything you built. So until that story broke into the news at 8:53, you were fine. Life was gravy. But then at 9 o'clock, when the news came on, and there you were, the lead story, it's gone. It crashed and burned. But really, it didn't crash and burn. Watch this, somebody. Don't leave me now. It didn't crash and burn when the news broke. It crashed and burned when you let your guard down and committed the act in the first place. And I don't mean always something egregious. I mean, you did something thoughtless, something mindless. And if I could say this word just for emphasis, you did something stupid. And now because you did something stupid, it haunted you later. And now your personal life, your personal reputation took a hit, but it had implications for your professional life. And now it too took a hit. And now, as I'm going to talk about in the third section, you have no more credibility. So let's keep going. Every time you walk out of your home, every time you walk into the building, every time you engage someone in your building in a conversation, every time you take to social media, your reputation is on the line. I think I'll repeat that. Every time you walk out of your home, and for me, inclusive of the hotel room, every time you walk into your school, every time you engage folks in conversation, every time you take to social media, your reputation is on the line. Just by you doing the normal things of life, your rep is on the line. And that's why I'm saying I'm not confining to growth and development and evolution and transformation. You got to protect. You got to guard. You got to shield. You've got to safeguard, right? So you got to be thinking, overthinking your reputation. Am I doing that little innocent post I just put on social media? How might that be perceived or received by someone else? Let me give you this example, because I think about this a lot. I think about this probably more than I need to. I don't do this too much anymore. I used to go to restaurants and post pictures of my meal, right? And then somewhere along the way, I thought about folks less fortunate. And I said, what message am I sending when I'm in this nice restaurant with all this expensive food? What message am I sending? And what is it saying about my reputation when I'm boasting about a meal, when there could be someone who's a friend of mine on social media that is less fortunate? So I don't do that like I used to. I send pictures to my family through a text group we have, but I don't necessarily post them on social media. I never got called out for that before, but I think about it. Because I'm saying, the intention is, hey, y'all, check what I'm getting ready to eat. Ha, ha, ha. But someone might be on the other end saying, man, I wish I could eat. Right? And now they may look at me differently. My reputation can take a hit just on an innocent post that meant nothing. So I'm saying to you, I use something very probably superficial as an example, but I'm saying to you, you got to give that kind of thought, because you're a school leader. You're not just some Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street. You're a school leader, or you're an aspiring school leader, or you're a superintendent, or whatever your capacity is. You have to give intense thought to the things you say, the things you do, the things you post, the things you wear, the places you go, the people you align yourself with. All of that matters because of what you chose to do for a living, and that is being a school leader. Because the world is watching. They're watching you. They're watching who you roll with. They're watching how you dress in public. They're watching the things you say, how you say it. They're watching all that. Now, you might have that attitude. I don't care what people say about me. Think about, I get it. I got it too, to an extent. But I also know that Principal Kafele is a business, it's a brand, and I do want to make money since this is my business. So I'm not going to go out and take that attitude. I don't care what y'all think of me, because those very people might be the ones that say, I think I'll stop sending him checks now. I think we'll stop bringing him in to speak because he's a little bit too carefree. So you're in this capacity, and you've got to be mindful of your reputation. Let's keep going. So here I got these reflective questions. I'm going over. I thought I could do this in an hour, but obviously I could not. So here we go. Your reputation through the eyes of everyone who sees you matters, both professionally and personally. So therefore, my question is, what measures have I put in place for myself to ensure that who I conceptualize myself to be is consistent with who I am? Again, what measures have I put in place for myself to ensure that who I conceptualize myself to be is consistent with who I am? So in other words, it's not just a coincidence that you're going to do the right thing. You got to be intentional about doing the right thing because of the role you're in. You have children watching. Forget about the adults now. You have children watching your every step. And not only are they watching your every step, they're watching the way you step. I told you this, some of you that have been rocking with me for the whole time. I told you when I won that Milken Award, the Milken folks came and did they filmed me in my school for 2 days. They just said, just be you, and we're going to follow you with a camera. Just pretend we're not there. So for 2 full days, it's a camera on me. So they debuted the video at the Milken celebration of all the Milken winners that year, which was 2000. I was the class of 2009. So my wife and I went to California, to Los Angeles, and we watched the video. We were part of the celebration. So they showed my video because everybody didn't get a profile. It was, they singled me out for some reason. So they showed the video. And man, I had this tip thing going with my hand, man, walking down the hall. And I said to my wife, do I walk like that? And she said, I've been telling you that for years. That's how you walk. My kids were telling me in the school, the students, particularly when I became a high school principal, that's how you walk. But I never was conscious of that until I saw the video. And other people would tell me. I saw the video. Now, I made a decision, well, if that's how I've been walking for 60 years, at that time, 50 years, we ain't changing it. So I haven't changed it. But the thing is, I saw something that everyone else saw, but I never saw until I saw it on video. So remember, the world sees you in a way that you may not see yourself. That's my point. That school sees you in a way that you may not see yourself. Your staff, your parents, your students, the community see you in a way that you may not be seeing yourself. So you got to make sure that you are very deliberate, very much conscious of who you are relative to your reputation, the things you say, the things you do, right? Let's keep moving. What measures have I put in place for myself to ensure who I conceptualize myself to be is consistent with how I am being perceived by staff, by students, by parents, and the community? So I went on and elaborated on that before reading the questions, so I can keep going. How deliberate am I about safeguarding my reputation, right? So is it something that you've given the thought to? My man Stalin said, I've been walking like that since 79. Yeah, and it was before 79, Stalin, because I didn't know, man. It took 2009 watching that Milken video to see. And that like Fidelia Sturdivant said to me, you got to change, you bopping, man. She said, that's the word she used. There's a lady that worked in my school, folks. She said, you bopping down these halls. You're a principal now. You can't walk like that. I'm like, I don't bop. When I watched that video, y'all, man, let me keep going, y'all. So how deliberate am I about safeguarding? Are you deliberate about it? Not just the way you walk. Now I'm talking about your whole being, right? Are you deliberate about your reputation? It could be something just in terms of what you said at the staff meeting, right? My wife said tipping. What you said at the staff meeting, how you said it at the staff meeting. That's your rep on the line. Because now you coming across like you all about keeping your school inspired, man. And then you at the staff meeting and folks leaving out there feeling down and out, not because of the school day, but because of you and your performance at that staff meeting. And now that's the reputation you're building. And you're not even intentionally building a reputation like that. It's just happening because you haven't been giving it the thought that it requires, right? My man Stallings, man. So here, I'm almost done with this section and we almost gonna be done here. So here we go. If and or when my reputation is compromised, whether it be professional or personal, would I have the temperament to fight through it? If and or when my reputation is compromised, notice I said or when it is compromised, do I have the temperament to fight through it? So in other words, that could be a rough patch in your life. We all have. I had it personally and professionally. So I know what it is to have a rough patch as a school leader. So, but I had the temperament to fight it, to fight through it. So here I stand. Will you have the temperament? So you need to already be thinking. My mother's on here. She said East Orange. So it goes back way beyond 79, right? So here I'm saying to you, you got to anticipate the fire coming your way. I don't mean the positive fire now. I mean the burn it down fire, right? You got to anticipate that. Especially if you're a bold leader, you got a strong spine, you stand straight, and you're going to make you were going to take some bold initiatives. Well, you got to know that stuff's going to come back at you. That just goes with the territory. Everybody's not going to love that. Everyone's not going to love you for what it is that you're trying to do because people are comfortable in their space. You're trying to create discomfort because there's too much comfortability in that space. Yeah, you know, let me tell you what that was, because someone may need to know this if you ever do a live stream somewhere. They time you out after an hour. I mean, after 24 hours, right? So I was already thinking ahead of that though. So I said, let me get this account at some off hour so it doesn't shut off in the middle. So in other words, I didn't sign up for this account at this time yesterday. I did it at some off time so that it would, but it didn't work that way for me. I guess they got some set time at 9 o'clock Eastern something. So I'm here, right? Let me finish this. I'm glad you stuck around. I had to go back and pay for another day and all that, and y'all hung in there, man. That speaks volumes about the folks that tune into this academy. So I'm almost done. Here we go. I'm gonna go fast. So if and or when my reputation is compromised, would I have the temperament to fight through it, right? And then lastly, what measures have I taken to protect the authenticity of my leadership reputation, right? What measures have I taken to protect the authenticity of my leadership reputation? So again, the key words would be protect and authenticity. You want to make sure that you as leader maintain your authenticity relative to your reputation. So we said authenticity, we're talking about your realness, right? We're talking about you being genuine. We're talking about your originality, right? And you want to protect that. Let me just get this: protecting your competency and credibility. And now I know for the next Monday, first Monday in June, I know I need to cut this down a little. I was a little bit over ambitious with everything I put together. So real quick, as a school leader, there's an unwritten expectation that you will be competent in a multiplicity of areas that you actually may not necessarily have developed the confidence for just yet, right? So when you take on these positions, folks think you know it all. They think you know everything, right? So I like what you just said, Arcella. Your reputation solidified. We waiting until you 1, 2, 3, bam. Appreciate that. You know, so here, when you take on these leadership positions, the people, people on staff think you know everything, right? In terms of your competency. And really, you may not. You're new to it. Or even a veteran, you still may not know everything. I tell my audiences all the time, I'm not going to know all of curriculum. I'm not going to know the physics curriculum. I'm not going to know the chemistry curriculum. That's not my area of strength, but I don't need to know the physics curriculum. I need to know good pedagogy, right? I don't need to be conversant in physics to be able to help a teacher to grow. I need to be solid in pedagogy. There's a difference, right? So here, I'm going to go through these questions real quick and then I'm done. Do I have the credibility to speak intelligently and the expertise to coach competently on a variety of instructional methodologies with the teachers that I supervise? I want to say that again because it was such a long question. Do I have the credibility to speak intelligently on a given topic and the expertise to coach competently on a variety of instructional methodologies with the teachers that I supervise? See, in other words, we're talking credibility, and I merge competency within credibility, right? So I got the two in the same subject. And I'm saying here, like, let's look at what we're talking about. Your credibility. It's interesting. I had written some notes here, and they're in the other room. I'm not even going to get them. They were handwritten. But I'm saying this. When in the book I wrote called The Aspiring Principal 50, I say aspiring principal, when you have your leadership position, whether it be as an AP or a principal, I'm looking for certain things on that website. Let me share these with you. I'm looking for your photograph. It speaks volumes about your credibility. Now, someone might say, what do you mean by that? How are you going to be the leader of a school and there's no photo of you on your school website? I want you to let that one marinate for a second. How are you going to be the leader of a school, the leader or a leader of a school, and there is no photograph of you on your school website? Now, your school website is based on your school. No photo of you. Nobody gets to see what you look like. So that's number one in terms of credibility. Number two, when I go on a school website, I'm looking for the leadership. When I say leadership, I'm talking principal and assistants and anyone else in administration. I'm looking for your educational background. I want to know where you went to school and what you studied. I put that on my website, my school website, when I was a principal. I want to know, what did you study? Where did you study? I want to know your expertise. In other words, I want to gauge your credibility on your school website. Number two, next one, number three. I want to know your educational philosophy, right? Like what is who are you philosophically in terms of how you see education helping young people to grow, right? Who are you? I want to see that on the website. What is your education philosophy? I want to see your work experience. Oh man, y'all need to write this down. Where'd you work? And what did you do? In what capacity? You are my child's assistant principal. You are my child's principal. Don't I have a right to know who you are? So what's your background? Where'd you work? And within your background, what were your accomplishments? Were there any accomplishments? Right? So what did you learn? I mean, what did you achieve? What awards did you get? What initiatives did you put in place? Right? Just, I mean, whatever it is, put it out there. You don't have to put the whole resume, but give the reader of the website or the viewer of the website some semblance of who you are as a leader. That matters. Woo! That matters. And then lastly, I want to see your vision for the school. See, I'm not talking about the school vision. I'm talking about your vision. The school leadership vision. What's your vision? So my child is a student in your school. So since my child is enrolled in your school, what is your vision for that school? And we could go on and add your person. So that's your personal vision, your leadership vision, but we could also put your leadership mission and your leadership purpose. We could put that as well. But I'm saying all that to say these are components that must be in that on that website that establish your credibility. So going back to what I said, now I'm almost done, y'all. So hang in there with me. What I said about yesterday's keynote, but not just yesterday, every keynote I do. I got a long bio on my website, then I got the condensed bio that I use as an intro. But to most people, the condensed is long, right? Because they don't realize it's shorter than the other one. I could have gave you that long one from the website. But I'm saying there are people in the room that don't know Principal Kafele. I need to establish, hear me somebody, I need to establish credibility before I go up on that stage and tell people how to lead their school, how to teach the students in their classroom, how to be equitable practitioners, how to close the attitude gap, how to empower Black males, and all the stuff that I do, right? I can't just, or how to be a great assistant principal, how to interview, all just everything. It's a whole lot that I do as far as presentations. But to walk up on a stage and just start talking and saying, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, and the person sitting there and don't know what you did, so I say to the client all the time, I have to establish credibility. So yes, I need that bio read. And then they'll say to me, well, can I read like maybe the first 2 paragraphs? No, I need you to read it to the bottom. Because I want the folks in that audience to know that they're in good and capable hands. Now, that's not ego. I don't want somebody, he ego tripping now. No, that's establishing credibility. So I'm saying to you as leader, how you going to have a website? Because I know you got one and there's nothing about you. So, and I bet you, I can bet everything I own, which ain't much, but I can bet you everything I own that there's someone on this call right now and there is not one thing on that website about you. There's no picture of you. There's no work experience. There's no educational background. There's no philosophy of education. There's no vision. There's nothing. It's just some website with a calendar of events and pictures of the sports teams and all that kind of stuff, right? But so when you have that kind of website and the calendar of events and the school colors and the this and the that, the bus, the times the bus picks up kids, all that basic stuff. How does that establish your leadership credibility? It doesn't. So I'm saying to you, if there's a superintendent watching me right now and you know that your principals and assistant principals do not have their own page, you might want to get that started today. You might want to call the IT. Yo, I was listening to Principal Kafele this morning and he punched me right in the gut. Because we got 25 schools in the district and none of our administrators are on the page, on their school pages. You got to handle that. That's not only their credibility, superintendent, that is your credibility. And I might say, superintendent out there, let me step on your toes real quick, but out of love. A whole lot of superintendents not on them pages, man. Because see, when clients call me, the first thing I do, if the superintendent call me, I'm going to the superintendent's page. I want to see who I was just talking to. That's like routine for me. And I'm like, man, nothing, no message, no photo, no nothing. Or the call came in May, but the message is from September, right? Or the message is from the last school year. That's credibility right there. I'm like, oh man, you want me to come in and talk to the teachers. Teachers might not be the problem. The problem sounds like it might be at the superintendent level. Because you're not handling your business on something so basic. See? So again, I'm talking credibility, right? Credibility. I see y'all still here. Y'all still writing these comments. I appreciate it. I haven't been highlighting like I usually do with the guests, because I'm locked in, y'all. So I see them, but I don't see them, if that makes sense to you. Because I'm trying to just stay focused on this, especially with time now. I got to be off of here in 9 minutes. So let's go. So now, am I perceived by my staff? So therefore, with everything I just said, you have to protect your credibility. You got to protect it. So there's certain measures you got to take. So if you're one that doesn't read, matter of fact, y'all listen, I'm going over 12:30. Y'all gonna have to hang in here with me because I got to say this. I can't hold this for another month. If you're one that doesn't read, hey, your staff is going to pick up on that. An unread person is obvious when they walk into the room. If you're one that doesn't read, and if your staff does read, and then you walk in and you trying to position yourself as that instructional leader, and you don't read and you don't know contemporary language, it's gonna come across. They're gonna know you still operating in 1990. They're gonna know, and your credibility is shot. Let me say this to you, as a leader, and now I'm not gonna come hard on this. I'm just gonna come sincere. You got to have a blog page. Somebody said, huh? What? Where you going with that? Hey, AP. Hey, principal. Hey, central office. If you are in leadership, you need a blog page. See, times have shifted. And you need a page where you're able to talk a lot deeper, because you may not have the opportunity and the platform to talk to your staff deeply intellectual during the school day, but you set up that blog page, and then you begin to train. No, that's not a good word. You begin to encourage staff to check in every week, maybe once a week, once a month, whatever it is, maybe once a month, right? Because once a week may be tough. Once a month, you write a blog of say 500 words, a short one, right? Or if you got a lot in you, 1,000, right? And you write a blog and you encourage staff to read the blog. They get to learn more about who you are intellectually in the education space than they could ever know in terms of your day-to-day responsibilities. So as a leader, you got to have a blog page, and your staff needs to be reading your blog post. You can start that up right when we end today. Go to the easiest one, Google Blogs. Just go to the Google page and click. Well, you'll see where Google Docs and Gmail and all that. Find the one that says Google Blog. Click that. Start your page. Write you a little 500-page blog post and send it out to your staff. Establish your credibility. But then, as you establish your credibility, protect your credibility. See? You can't just establish it and not protect it, because you can lose it. So you want to establish it and then you protect it. And one of the ways of protecting it is putting out that blog page. I might even add, now this might sound a little bold to somebody. Marcus Jackson got one. He put it right here, marcusjackson.com. See? And he's a chief. Listen, Dr. Jackson, who has been on here before, is the chief academic officer. Hey, Doc, you know how people call it Lancaster? They schooled me, Lancaster. See, you didn't know I was going to say that, Doc, right? They schooled me somewhere They said it's not Lancaster, it's Lancaster. Oh, okay. So he's the chief academic officer of Lancaster ISD in Texas. He got a blog page. marcusjackson.com. Start your blog page, man. And that way, staff, because those of you who are trapped in these little disciplinary roles, lunch duty role busted, now you can show staff, hey, hold, pump the brakes. It's more to me. But you're also able to position yourself with others who make hiring decisions. I'm giving y'all something. Y'all should send me a check for about $10,000 on what I'm about to say. See, now, so you start your blog page and you make them folks at central office know that you got it. See, you make sure the superintendent know you got that blog page, and you start to drop gems on that blog page. Let me tell you something. That soup gonna see that. Oh, wow. Impressive. Wow. You got the job. You be writing me next week or in a few weeks. Principal Kafele, that thing you said about having that blog page, I didn't even take that serious at first, but I went on and did it. Oh, man. Now, look here, y'all. Don't send me no checks, because a lot of y'all be like, send me your Cash App. I want to send you something. Nah, don't worry about it. I'm good. God got me. He got me. Right? So see, I'm saying to you, but watch this. I'm going to blow somebody's mind on this one. I'm going over 12:30. This is insane, man. I was supposed to be done by 12. Listen, here's the other part. Start you a YouTube channel. Now, I know that blew somebody's mind. Start you a YouTube channel where all you do is talk what you're thinking relative to education for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all. No long like Kafele, 90 minutes, 2 hours. No, not that, 10 minutes, 15. and then you send the link to your staff. Or if you AP, send the link to the teachers that you supervise, right? So then, like every week, maybe you could do this every week because we're talking about a short one. You could do it with your phone, 10 minutes. Write out your outline because you don't want to just wing it, right? Like I do. Right, write out your outline. It's 4 pages, y'all. Right, write out your outline, and now you sitting in the car somewhere. You do your message to the. It's not even for the whole school. It's for the teachers that you supervise only, and now you speak to them. The teachers that you supervise. Here's your 10-minute message. Here's your 5-minute message to them. Then you done. Right, my man, Dr. Joe Sanfilippo. He. Some of you may know him. He does I think it's like 1-minute walk. He lives by his school, by the school. He's one of them. I think he's a 1 school district. He's a superintendent. And he does this little 1-minute message while he's walking to the school, to his office, I should say. Man, thousands of people watch that. Right? He's gonna be on here soon. I told him, I said, I'm gonna call you soon. Right? So that's just another idea, because what are we talking about? We're talking about your credibility. So now, as you create your little mini YouTube channel, which may become big because people might start sharing it, right? And then your blog page, that's showing staff, man, this person is very intelligent. My AP, man, I thought he was just, doing discipline, bus duty, lecturing the kids when they get in trouble, all that kind of stuff. Nah, this dude is intellectually deep. This woman is intellectually deep. And now the people, because see, as your blog post gets known, this is not in my notes, y'all. That's why I'm going so long. I'm freestyling now. So as this is in your notes, it's not just your district that's going to see it. As you grow it, the world's going to see it. And now you write your own ticket. Yo, you can write that ticket. You can write that check. Baruti Kafele, $10,000. Right? See, I'm telling you, the world going to see you, because you are establishing credibility. Now you want to make sure what you write is got to be on point. You can't put something out there that's going to haunt you, because then you did not protect your credibility. You did not put a firewall in place. You allowed yourself to be compromised. See, just like that computer can be compromised without that firewall, you allowed yourself to be compromised because you did not put that firewall in place, meaning you did not have somebody else read it. You did not. So proofing it for grammar, but also reading it to make sure it's what you want to put out there, because that blog post that you write is your representative. It is a representation of you. Don't you forget that. Let me get back to my notes. I'm almost done, y'all. Am I perceived by my staff and students as an overall credible and competent leader? Man, competent. So we're talking about the credibility side, but now the competence side. Are you fit to lead? Now, in your mind, I know you are, but what's staff saying? Are they saying that this person in this leadership capacity has the competence to lead us at a high level? Not just to sustain us, not just to maintain us, but to lead us at a high level. Are you protecting your competence by being that reader that I was talking about before? You got to grow. You can't graduate from grad school and now learning is over, and now let me just coast this nice nice job I got that pays well. No, you got to grow. You got to develop. You got to evolve. You got to transform. But the big word, and you got to protect it. Because when staff sees that you are not growing, then staff sees that you lack the competence to lead them in a multiplicity of ways of leadership. Your leadership has been compromised, and you can't allow it to be compromised. You got to protect it. You got to safeguard it, and you protect it and you safeguard it, in this case, through your credibility and your competence. Let me be transparent. I come on this thing every week, whether I have a guest or if I'm going solo, and I can come on here, particularly when I deviate from my notes, which is what I always do. So you wouldn't know that all the time. I said it today. I could get on here and say something that's so far-fetched, And now it's out there in the universe. Even if I delete the video, it's too late. It's out there in the universe. So although I'm saying it, I don't say something I don't know what I'm talking about. So when I tell you about that website in terms of that credibility, what you should have on there, when I tell you about that blog page, right? When I tell you about that YouTube channel, and of course you want to get approval from your principal, right? And if it has to go through any other approvals, then you want to do that, right? But ultimately, what I'm saying to you, I know what I'm talking about on that. And I know what that will do for your life, with your career. I know what it'll do. It will tell the world, here's somebody we need to look at. Here's somebody we need to recruit. Here's somebody we need on our team. Let me keep going. I'm almost done. Do staff accept my advice and suggestions as credible? I won't go deep into that because I kind of been touching it, but I want to read it again. I want to recite it again. Do staff accept my advice and my suggestions as credible? So you got to hold up your mirror, and you're around staff. You know how they are with you. You know whether or not they're hearing you. You know whether or not they're receiving you. You know that. So you got to be serious about the question. Am I coming across as credible? Am I fumbling around? There's nothing wrong with not knowing. You can say to someone, I don't know, but I will get right back to you. That's okay. But you can't every day, I don't know. Every time they ask you a question, you don't know, because then that calls your competence into question. So there's certain things you got to be able to respond to, but there's certain other things you just got to be reactive with, and proactive with, and you just got to be able to do them. That's leadership. Let's keep moving. I got 3 more. What is it about my leadership that my staff should consider me to be a competent leader? So again, what is it about my leadership that my staff should consider me to be a competent leader? So I'm just asking you to look at your overall leadership. And what is it about your leadership that you deem that your staff pretty much should see you as being competent? But I can add to that, what are those areas that staff may not see you as competent? And what is it that you need to improve upon? What is it that you need to brush up on? Next one, what is it about my background that my staff should consider me to be a credible leader? Man, I tell you, there's a book I want to write that I don't know when I'm gonna write it. This next book I'm writing, which I'm definitely writing, it's gonna be out next summer. But that's not the book. But there's a book I'm gonna write that's gonna speak directly to this. What is it about my background that my staff should consider me to be a credible leader? Because I had someone that tried to deliberately, intentionally undermine my credibility, right? And I haven't gone public with it yet. I will one day, and because it's a story that needs to be told. But for you, what is it about my background, meaning you, that my staff should consider me to be credible? You got to analyze your background. You got to analyze who you are. And you got to ask yourself, what is it about me that staff, I think, should consider me to be credible in my capacity? And then last one, what measures have I taken to protect the authenticity of my leadership competency and credibility? So again, what measures have I taken to protect the authenticity, the realness, the genuineness, the originality of my have I taken to protect the authenticity of my leadership credibility and my leadership competence, right? There are measures that you got to take. Now, when I write that book, I'm gonna have all examples of measures that one could take and all that kind of thing. Right now, I'm just kind of leaving that to you. I'm giving you the question, and then you think about it, you run with it, and then we see where that goes. So look here, y'all. I went like solo 12:36, 90 minutes, even had the interruption with the technology, and y'all stuck around. I appreciate you for that. Let me tell you, next week, man, I'm really looking forward to my guest, Principal Andre Benito Mountain out of Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to have a great time, y'all. Be with me. I'm going to be doing this live out of Los Angeles next Saturday. I'll be in LA. Now, I'll be in Long Beach, California, but I don't think they're going to have the same Wi-Fi issue. See, I'm up in the mountains and all this, but I'll be down low in the city. So next week, Facebook Live, Saturday, Sean Hurt, 10 o'clock. Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and soon to be Dr. Tammy Taylor, 10:30. Unlock the Middle, Sunday night, my man, Josh Tovar and the rest of the crew there. Village Leadership Group, Dr. Roz Gaskins, Coach Williams. I watched them last week. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6. we all, we a team. So check us all out every Saturday, and then come back with me next week at 10:55 Eastern time, and I'll be live in my hotel room in Long Beach, California. Don't forget the again, the Equity Social Justice Education 50. Oh, hey y'all, I guess if this was beneficial, I do this with the guests. I never do this with me, but I'm gonna do it. If this session was beneficial, drop me some fire, y'all. Drop me some thumbs up, some whatever your emoji is. If it was beneficial to you, let me know. That's the standing ovation. If one is warranted, right? Let me know if this was worth your while this morning, even though I went a half hour longer than I wanted to. Make sure that you visit principalkafele.com. Appreciate them flames, y'all. I appreciate you. Make sure that you like and subscribe, like and follow my virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. I'll have my commentary up tomorrow morning by 10. I'm going to write it on the plane tonight, so I don't have to get up so early tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. That's tomorrow. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and those in the capacity of mom. Happy Mother's Day to you tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel, man. We got a lot of platforms out here. Make sure that you do that, because we don't want you to miss anything. And then make sure you're taking care of yourself, your diet, your exercise, and your COVID precautions. Other than that, hey, y'all, appreciate you. I don't have a bat, but, I tried to hit it as far as I could out the park. But I will see you next week at 10:55 with my guest, Principal Andre Benito Mountain. Until then, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. 1, 2, 3. Bam. I'll see you in 7 days.